Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and ladies and gentlemen. Today, I know we've all received many messages from constituents regarding how they would like us to vote on this bill. Today, I received a message from one of my constituents asking me to vote for the bill. He mentioned that he had little faith that I would do the right thing, but he was going to let me know what he wanted anyway. So, but the fact is, representing the community with the University of Idaho, as you might imagine, I've gotten many messages in opposition to the bill, and so I do feel compelled to just make one or two comments about it. A few years ago, when I was teaching at Moscow High School, I had a student who was one of the most capable, intelligent, well-rounded students I'd ever had, a great leader in the school. He went on to a university of some renown, and soon after getting there, he began to present symptoms of being bipolar. And I've heard that this is an age where individuals sometimes present these symptoms when they haven't when they were younger. He did graduate successfully from the university, although threatened suicide on many occasions. And I think for people who own guns, if they're going to shoot somebody, it's most likely that they will shoot themselves. But he didn't. And some years after graduating, however, he did shoot and kill his girlfriend, her son, and then himself. This is one of the situations that, of course, presents me with concern when it comes to having guns on campus, where students do have so many pressures upon them. And in the case of this individual, I don't know that he was on anybody's radar screen officially for having mental disorders, but in any event, he did have a gun and ended up using it inappropriately. The other issue is alcohol, and I don't really have a lot of confidence that saying you can't drink if you have a concealed weapon is going to stop some students from doing that, because the culture in the universities really involves partying and drinking. I would imagine that many of you might have guns that you carry with you, and I think that's fine, that's your right. But on the other hand, I don't know of any legislators in the 14 years that I've been here that have overindulged, gone up on the third floor and fallen out of a window and hurt themselves. Yet almost every year it seems like we hear of a college student who does that. It's just part of the culture. And sometimes one's judgment does go away in those situations, and for a person such as that to have ready access to a gun can be problematic. In recent years in Moscow, I know of 5 situations where there were shootings where individuals were killed. 4 of them dealt with mental illness, and 1 of them dealt with too much drinking. And those are the instances that cause me concern. Those are the only instances that I know of where somebody has shot and killed another individual in my community. So it just, I think, gives us reason to consider whether or not in this culture in college campuses, with the judgment that students sometimes lack and with the mental pressures that students sometimes have, it would be best to keep guns off campus. Thank you.
Is there further debate? Gentleman from 28.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. To debate in favor of the bill.
Gentleman has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and ladies and gentlemen. I think that the university and college professors and presidents and their legal counsel gave us some very compelling reasons to reject this bill and let them continue to do what they're doing. And I concede that they're doing a very good job of managing safety and security on our college campuses and universities. And I, like you, have received the emails. They're overwhelmingly against this. It seems to me that the community, my constituents, the parents, the students themselves do not want to change what we're doing now because we have not had an incident, we have safety, we have a feeling of security. So why are we here today, and why am I debating in favor of this bill? I want to give you an example. Those of you in committee heard it, and I think it's worth repeating. A few years ago, there was a co-ed young lady going to school at the University of Nevada, Reno. She had a permit to carry a weapon, but the policy on that university was no weapons on campus. So being law-abiding and a conscientious young lady, she left at home. At the end of a school day, when she went to go home, and some of you may have seen this video clip, I've seen it more than once, and I have her testimony, she left her friends to go to her vehicle, which was in the university parking lot. And she said 50 feet from campus security, she could see it. As she got to her vehicle, someone came up behind her and held a gun at her temple, released the safety, and raped her. And she said during that horrific ordeal that part of her said she wished she could die rather than endure. She didn't die, and now she is given testimony in Colorado and I don't know where else. The perpetrator committed subsequent rapes and killed someone. And Mr. Speaker, may I quote from the victim?
Without objection.
The
Gentleman
victim
may
said,
quote.
"I was legislated into being a victim." Now let's transpose that here to Idaho. Thankfully, we have not had an incident like this, and hopefully we will never have an incident like this. But what if we did? What if we do? We don't know if we're going to have one or not. But if we did, and the victim was killed, then what would be the scenario? We would feel bad. We would feel remorse. We would give condolences. The university and all society would give condolences. And then we would go on, wouldn't we? But that victim and that victim's family never goes on without remembering that. This young lady says there is never a day that I live without that being in my mind. So today, ladies and gentlemen, regardless of the cost, regardless of the inconvenience, I cannot in good conscience vote to deny that young lady or any other person from the right to exercise the choice to defend themselves when it is guaranteed in both the federal and the state constitutions. I cannot go there, and I hope you can't go there either. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Is there further debate? Gentleman from 6.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I had really promised myself I wasn't going to stand up, but I do have to present for the body some information which to help make your decision. 80% of the firearm deaths in Idaho are self-inflicted gunshot wounds. The highest percentage of suicide attempts is in adolescent and young adult males. I think that's a deadly combination that we're setting ourselves up for.
Further debate? Hearing none. Gentleman from 21.
Thank you, Chairman. And Speaker, I just rise to debate in favor of the bill
Gentleman has the floor.
and point out simply that this is not a campus security bill. This is a personal security bill. Thank you.
Further debate? Lady from 17.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen of the House, I rise today on behalf of students, faculty, and staff from the university of my district, Boise State University. I'll just say that former Speaker Newcomb was quoted in the news saying, It's a bill that is ripe for political times. But is this good policy? Absolutely not, in my view, in Boise State's view. I'm voting no today. Please join me.
Is there further debate? Gentleman from 22.
Mr. Speaker, ladies and gentlemen, appreciate the opportunity to speak to you on this bill and rise to debate in favor of this bill. I too sat in testimony for a long time, and it was great to hear the different opinions on this matter. And it seems like we always discussed, as this bill was being discussed, about the campus and the universities. And I think it's important for us to realize that if we leave things the way they are, it's not just about the campuses or the colleges. This is about an individual's right all day long. Most people, when they go to school, they may stop somewhere else on the way. Maybe they work. We know our universities are full of people who do multiple things. They go to work in the morning, they go to school in the afternoon, they stop by the grocery store on their way home. If we're not allowed to have guns on campus at all, then effectively we're saying that person can't carry a gun to protect themselves all day long because they can't bring it and leave it in their car. So what are they supposed to do with it? The good lady from 11 mentioned that we had to throw it into a bush outside of campus. And that's obviously not a very good policy there. But if we don't allow these individuals, then we've effectively said all week long, you're not allowed to do it. And I don't think that the Constitution said that your right to bear arms was only on the weekends. And effectively, that's what we're doing here. We're not just preventing it for a short period of time in a very isolated location. It's an all-day thing because we can't, what are you supposed to do with it? You can't take it with you in the morning. You got no place to put it in the afternoon. You can't go to the store. You can't go to the restaurant afterwards. And so I think we're forgetting that this does have far-reaching implications, and that's important for us to remember. I have several college-age students, and 3 of them, in fact. And I'll tell you just briefly about them, and I'll sit down. We always like to brag on our kids, so I'm going to brag on my kids just slightly if I can. I have a student at UNLV in law school right now. And he's a great kid, done everything he's supposed to. In fact, he's on scholarship there, and he wanted to carry a weapon. He's taken the concealed weapon classes in Idaho, he's taken them in Utah, and he's even taken them in Nevada, and he's got his concealed weapon permit. And so he petitioned the school to allow him to carry a concealed weapon while he's there on campus, and the petition was denied. I have another student who goes to BSU. He's a criminal justice major, and he too feels the need. He wants to be a police officer when he grows up. I'm so thankful for his efforts in wanting to do that. And he too wants to carry, but he's not allowed. And I have one more student that's going to school, and she's my sweet girl, and she's going to Utah State. And so I asked her how school was, as I always do. And I said, do you feel safe while you're at school? She said, yeah. In fact, I talked to my students about this, and we feel like we are the safest university there is. And I said, wow, do you guys is that a study or is that information? She goes, no, that's just me talking to my friends. So it's a little bit of anecdotal evidence there. But I asked her, I said, did you know that students there are allowed to carry concealed weapons? She said, no, I had no idea. But she felt safe there. And it wasn't an issue for her. And so when I look at my kids, I got to look at everybody else's kids. I have to look at Amanda Collins from UNR, and I feel like I don't have that right to deny them. I don't feel that I have the ability to stop them from exercising their rights and their choices. Because frankly, that's what it comes down to. It's about them being able to exercise their rights to do what they feel is right. And for that, I'm voting for this bill, and I encourage you to do this likewise.
Is there further debate?